Okay, so today we're going to be going over um, oh, nothing. Today we're going to be going over the income statement analysis, which should be a lot easier than the balance sheet analysis, balance sheet statement analysis. Um, yeah. Anyways, we're going to need to open the commercial banking Excel. We're going to need to open this. We're going to need to open policy guidelines. We're going to need to open this. We're going to need to open our one project template. We're going to need to open this. Not this. One project template. Here we go. What's going on? Oh, it's on the other side. Here we go. Right here. Okay, good. We're going to need to open company financial statements and the conversation with Jonathan. Okay. So now that we've gotten everything open, let's move this to the side. Let's go to the section that we need to go to. Okay. Let's see what we got. So we have our income statement. There we go. So if you have not already gathered the industry data, please go and do so. We have our income statement. Copy this picture. If you have not gathered that information, just remember that you can do it. There's videos explaining how to do it. And then we're going to take that data and we're going to take this data here, the sales increase and decrease, and we're going to move both of those here. I've already done so. I've shown you how to do it in previous videos, but those are the two charts that we're going to be needing for this section. Okay. Okay. So these are the two charts that we're going to need for this section. I'm going to shrink that one down a little bit. Okay, so who are their customers? We're going to figure that out through the conversation. So actually, there's one more thing I need y'all to open. There's something titled Iron Plow website. So you need to find your company website. It's going to be file number 3. So it should be number 3, and it'll say maybe Neptune, Bryant's Beans, Titan Hall, Iron Plow. You're going to click there. You're going to open that file, and then there's going to be a link. You're going to control and then open hyperlink, and now you have the company's website. So this is Iron Plow Green's website. They have their company overview, when they were founded, who founded them, contact information, headquarters, sustainable agriculture practices, ethical farming techniques, environmental impact reduction, crop rotation diversity. Here we go, our mission, nourishing communities. Our mission is to provide communities with high quality whole grains that are grown responsibly. By focusing on ethical farming, we aim to support local blah 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 local economies. Okay. Promoting nutrient rich blah blah blah. Achieving transparency and integrity. Okay. Distribution and impact. 100% natural process. Okay, here we go. So this is going to be useful. Okay. I'm not going to show you how to navigate the company's website. You guys should know how to do that. So, who are their customers? Remember, they discussed that in the conversation, in the first conversation. We import wheat from partnering, blah, 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 in Kansas. Our company supplies high quality whole wheat and malted berries and high quality whole wheat, stone, blah, 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 and Oh, our company supplies high quality whole wheat, stone ground flour, malted wheat berries, and food manufacturers. Okay. Uh, okay. So, who are their customers? Iron Plow Grains is a whole wheat distribution company. They supply okay, they supply whole wheat to food manufacturers and you might be wondering where I'm getting these beverage companies and distilleries and stuff from. Well, I'm getting that information from another thing, their accounts receivable report. So on their accounts receivable report, we have Oral Wheat, Jack Daniels Whiskey Brand, and Pepperidge Farms. So they supply whole wheat to food manufacturers, distilleries, beverage companies. Period. We'll leave it at that. Simple statement. You want to find out what this company does, who they're selling to. Why did sales increase or decrease? So sales increased from 2022 to 2023, then they increased again from 2023 to 2024, and then they decreased from 2024 to 2026. So inside of our conversation, we know why sales increased and decreased. We highlighted it, right? I personally highlighted it in purple. You guys might have highlighted it in a different color. I'm not sure. But we're going to start with as of year to date, sales have decreased due to the borrower entering into a derivatives contract with a large customer, Oro Wheat. This call option entering a call option contract with large customer Oro Wheat. This required customer to supply wheat at a fixed price, which decreased margin. The borrower attempted to pass on costs to their customers and instead right. So this is a simple statement. As of year to date 2025, my bad. As of year to date 2025, sales have decreased due to the borrower entering a call option. Remember, we have it right here. The drop-ins came from a call option contract we did with Oral Wheat, our largest customer. We took the short position, meaning they had the right to purchase wheat at a fixed price below market value for the next 3 months. And then Eddie Jackson, so as wheat prices increase, blah 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 blah. Yeah, they didn't hedge their position. But remember what Jonathan Reddick says right here. He says we increased prices for our other customers to offset margin losses, but that ended up backfiring. Some of the smaller buyers pulled back on their orders, right? So some of the smaller buyers pulled back on their orders. Now they'll price according to the market and avoid locking themselves into fixed rates in the future. In order, now I wrote that down, right? Sales decreased due to the borrower entering into a call option with Oral Wheat. This required the customer to supply wheat at a fixed price with decreased margin. The borrower attempted to pass on costs to their other customers, who instead delayed purchasing new inventory. To avoid this mistake in the future, it will no longer offer fixed terms. Right. Sales have decreased by 29.21%. Right? By 9.21%. Okay? We want to make sure that we have our numbers in here. So that's our statement on sales. Real simple, real sweet. We got right to the point. Why did margins increase or decrease? So margins, gross profit remained relatively stable, right? We'll say in mine, gross profit remained relatively stable. 12%, 10%, 10%, 9%. But remember, we know why it decreased to 9% here. Because they entered into that contract. So gross profit remained relatively stable in the periods analyzed. Analyzed at around, so we'll do at around 12 plus 10 plus 10 plus 9 divided by 4 at around 10%. As of year to date, gross profit margin, GPM, has decreased as a result of the call option mentioned above. The borrower underperforms compared to their peers who do not report cost of goods sold. Remember, their peers do not report cost of goods sold, whereas we do report cost of goods sold, and our cost of goods sold consists of our borrower's cost of goods sold consists of freight and transportation costs. If you have Titan Haul, remember your cost of goods sold is going to be freight and transportation. If you guys have Neptunes, your cost of goods sold is going to be something different. It's likely going to be the security systems. That's going to be your cost of goods sold. Security systems, freight and distribution, and then for Brian's beans, your cost of goods sold is going to be freight and distribution, and also the beans themselves. Okay, just keep that in mind, you guys. That's how it should work. Okay, all right. As of year to date, 2025. Okay. Now let's come back up here and let's discuss sales in fiscal year in 2024 and 2023 increased as a result of. Now, why did sales increase in 2024 and 2023? Let's see if they make a comment on it. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's not it. Oh, here we go. Good to see you, Eddie. Yeah, 2023 was a big year for us. Grocery stores ramped up orders as markets reopened, and many of our wheat products saw a surge in demand. Okay. So then, in fiscal year in 2023, sales increased as a result of, what does that say? As a result of ramp. Sales increased as a result of increased demand as stores reopened. Sales increased by 43.44% as a result of increased demand as stores reopened after the COVID-19 pandemic. There we go. So now we explained the big giant jump in 2022 to 2023, and we explained the big giant loss from 2024 to 2025. Now remember, a sales change of 4 or 5%, you don't have to explain that. That's only 5%. It's not a big enough difference for you to even care. But 43%, now we need to make a comment on that. And 29%, we need to make a comment on that. Okay? Okay. So now we have a statement on what they sell, who they sell to, why sales changed, gross profit margins. Okay? We compare them to their peers. And now on to future projects that will increase sales. Let's actually go into operating profit margins first. So we're going to say operating income is more in line with peers despite falling short of industry standard of 5%. They are at around 1%. They are at around 1%. Okay, simple statement. Okay, so what are their future projects that will increase sales? Remember, our customer said that they have a new contract with Sprouts that's going to add an additional $1 million to revenues and $115K to their bottom line. So what we can say is, what are future projects? The borrower has entered negotiations with a large grocery store, Sprouts, who will be adding around $1 million in revenues and around 1.15 M in net income. In the future periods, in net income next year, right? Next year. Whew. The borrower was required to purchase a new wheat coating machine so they could sell to Sprouts. Right, we begin next year. Now let's take that out of here. Sprouts will be adding 1 million in revenues and 115 in net income annually. Right, let's say annually. Right. The borrower was required to purchase a new wheat coating machine so they could sell to Sprouts. They have done this and are expecting the contract to begin next year, right? This is how you write a projection statement. I took it straight from the conversation. This is what they're expecting to do. This is how much it'll add to the bottom line. And honestly, if y'all wanted to, we could go in and you see how it's 330, 282,000 for net income. What we could do is we can open our calculator. We could take net income from 2024. That's a full fiscal year end. We could take that. We could add the total net income, not EBITDA, not operating profit, net income, 282. And then we could add 115, enter. And then we could divide by our 16722 plus our $1 million, right? Now that improves our margin, or actually keeps our margin about the same. So that has no effect on margins, or it has little to no effect on margins. They're at 2%, they're going to stay at 2%. But y'all can also run that same thing, right? You see the math that I just did, it should make sense. How much of sales is cash / AR current period? Y'all don't have to do this one right here, because we're going to do it inside of the income statement, okay? We're going to do it in the income statement. So this, or not in the income statement, we're going to do that in the collateral section. So in the collateral section, and I've already done the collateral section, but in the collateral section, we explain what's going on with their accounts receivables. And you guys are going to be able to explain that too, okay? And then you're also going to determine whether there's a collateral shortfall, but that's for a later time. So this is a pretty decent analysis of the income statement. It's nothing too crazy. I didn't go too in depth. I kept it simple. I kept it sweet. We explain what happened with sales recently. We explain what happened with sales previously. We explain what's going on with gross profit margin now. We compare gross profit margin to their peers. And then we tell them what the cost of goods sold consists of. And actually, I should make that its own bullet point. Right? Now, lastly, we have the operating income, right? We compare them to their peers. They're not as good as their peers. They're underperforming, but they're still profitable, which is not too much to complain about. They're relatively stable at 1 to 2%, which again is not very good, but it is what it is. And they're expecting to make a new revenue source next year. So if you have Brian's Beans, this section is going to be full of information. That customer tells you so much in the conversation, and you have to document all of it here. If you have Neptunes, there should be a good amount of information here. I know that he discusses transitioning the company, and they're also increasing their sales significantly year over year. I know it. So Neptune, if you have Neptune, you're going to discuss in this section what's causing their rapid sales growth. And then you're also going to discuss the constraints that they're experiencing because of that rapid sales growth. And you're also going to discuss their future plans as far as sales growth goes. Where are they expanding to next? How successful have they been with their current sales growth? Okay. And if you have Titan Hall, this section should be more so focused on what's been going on inside of the industry as a whole. I believe that one discusses strikes that might be happening and what's going on in the Gulf of Houston. Okay. So this section should be full of information for all of you guys, but I think this analysis that I've done, I hope that it's a good example, and I hope that you guys can get a good analysis done. So anyways, we've done that. So now let's reference policy and let's see if they broke any policy guidelines. Okay. So leverage, AR, EBITDA. So we're not going to even worry about that. Evergreen line of credit. My customer does not have an evergreen line of credit. And there is a way to check if there's an evergreen line of credit. My customer has paid down their line of credit to $0. If your customer has a revolving line of credit and that revolving line of credit is consistently maxed out or near maxed out, then you have an evergreen line of credit. So remember, you guys need to be checking evergreen line of credit. You guys need to be checking these risks. Look at the balance sheet. Does the balance sheet say that they have that? Check. Okay, consecutive sales decline, consecutive net losses. So I know that one of you guys have consecutive net losses. You need to cite this. Two consecutive quarters. Two consecutive quarters, which means if 2024 and year to date is negative, that means you have two consecutive quarters. So some of you guys have consecutive net losses. You need to cite this. And some of you guys have consecutive sales decline. You need to cite both if you have them. So, okay, cite them. Make sure you're citing these risks. Now, me personally, I do not have consecutive sales declines. However, I do have um, consecutive sales declines in 2024, 2025. Okay, but I don't have consecutive net losses. So some of you guys have consecutive net losses, but I don't. So we're gonna come here, risk, and we're gonna say consecutive sales decline, period. Remember, y'all, 1 quarter is 3 months. So I have year to date numbers. I have year to date, but my year to date is in July. So July, as of July, they've lost 29% of their revenues, of their total sales. So because they've lost 29% of their sales, then I'm going to cite that as a policy exception because that's two consecutive quarters. Consecutive means back to back. That's two back to back quarters of sales decline. Consecutive quarters of sales decline. Okay? The borrower sales decline between first and second quarters in 2025. Simple statement. Now, lastly, we're going to do what we always do. Mitigation. Okay? We're not mitigating it yet, but we are going to mitigate all of these things. Okay? Okay. So this should sum up everything. This should get you a good idea of what to do on your homework. And if you have questions, email me throughout the week. Please don't wait until Friday to start this. Don't wait until Saturday to start it. Don't wait until Sunday to start it. Start this now so that I can get you guys some help during the week. That way, when the weekend comes, you know what you're doing. You know what you're looking for, okay? All right. Good luck, guys.